Most 7-seater small MPVs available in the Philippines come with an SUV-like trim since the dads who drive these family mobiles are aspiring for something that looks a little bit more macho. I mean, I'm talking about the XL7, the Stargazer X, the Xpander Cross, MPVs like that. Now, the car makers would usually just put on an SUV body kit, slap on some bigger wheels, and add an X to the name, and voila, you have an MPV that looks like an SUV. Now, Chevrolet Philippines decided to give us a 7-seater small MPV that comes with actual SUV features. You see, this, my friends, is the top-spec Chevrolet Captiva Premier, and in this video, we will find out if this vehicle can give us a true SUV driving experience. Let's do this. After a brief disappearance from the market, the Chevrolet Captiva makes its way back to the Philippines to claim its slice of the small MPV pie. Since it's been gone for a while, the Captiva has a bunch of cool tricks and features that it brings to the table in order to captivate you. You see, this top-spec Captiva Premier has the highest power output levels in the category, and it is also very well equipped in terms of tech and safety. Of course, the added power and features comes at a cost, since the top-spec Chevrolet Captiva Premier retails for 1,408,000 Philippine pesos, slightly edging out the Honda BRV VX as the most expensive small MPV in the category. So, can the Chevrolet Captiva Premier justify that asking price? Let's find out.
Here at Reagan's Rides, we do car reviews of SUVs, sports cars, trucks, and everything in between. So subscribe and hit the bell.
So, most small 7-seater MPVs that have been kitted out to look like SUVs may pass the looks test. You know, they kinda look like SUVs, but all of them still have a small displacement gasoline engine that will not wow you in terms of power. I mean, they are primarily people haulers, you know, they're family vehicles, so horsepower is not really their top priority. Now, this Captiva, however, comes with a more acceptable power range. See, we still have the same small displacement 1.5-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine here, but it has been turbocharged. Yep! That's something, pare, that the small MPVs out there, the other contenders, yeah, they would aspire to have a turbo underneath the hood. Now, that means that this Captiva Premier gets 155 PS of maximum power and 255 Newton meters of maximum torque, and you can feel that power. I mean, dude, you not only feel it, you also can hear it. In fact, if you put it on sport mode, let's put it on sport mode, alright? Let's pass this bus. Put it on sport mode. See? Hear that engine grunt. Woo! Alright, yeah, dude, if your ears will squint a little, it kind of sounds like a Chevy V6. I mean, yeah, sure, pare, that's a bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean. It's grunty, it's it's throaty, and when you pop it in sport mode, pare, the throttle response, yeah, it's yummy, it's delicious, and it can take you to illegal speeds in absolutely no time. Now, that's something that I did not expect from a small 7-seater family hauling MPV, but that's what we get here in the Chevrolet Captiva Premier. Oh, and you also get that in the base trim Captiva LTZ. Now, here's another thing that I love about this car, pare. Pop open the hood, yeah, and you see that the engine cover comes with the word turbo on it, which is a big flex, pare, because, yeah, having a turbocharged gasoline engine underneath the hood is the biggest flex that this Captiva Premier has over its SUV-looking, competitors out there. Now, that being said, I do have a couple of nitpicks when it comes to the drive. The turbocharged engine here is not really the smoothest out there, and yeah, when you're accelerating, see? Yeah, aside from that grunty, throaty engine note, it kind of feels a little bit rough around the edges. The CVT transmission that we have here Yeah, it also has the drive and the S or sport mode separately. You know, it's placed separately, which is normal. But what's not normal for me, at least, is that the manual mode, the plus and minus sign there, it should be beside S and not beside D. I mean, if you really want to ring it, you want to put it in sport mode, and you want to be able to have the the capability of rowing your own gears, well, simulated gears in this case, because it is a CVT. Still, yeah, so it's weird. It's weird like that, at least for me. But still, pare, when you put it in sport mode, it's still quick. You pop it in manual mode, the response of the simulated gears of the CVT is also quite decent. And yes, as I said, this vehicle, pare, will give you more than enough power to really take you into trouble, pare. I mean, you will definitely get a speeding ticket if you decide to test out the performance capabilities of that turbocharged engine. Now, in terms of driving comfort, the drive position is a bit upright and the seats are firmer than most. So you're reminded that you are driving an MPV. You're still reminded that despite this having the power of an SUV, this looking like an SUV, well, it is still a true MPV. Now, the steering feel is also well sorted, bit of a dead spot there in the middle, and the outward visibility, well, since you're sitting upright, well, the outward visibility is also pretty good. Although, if you're a shorter dude like myself, it's kind of hard to see where the hood ends. Yeah, but I don't think the taller drivers will have that issue. So, yeah. The good thing though is, yeah, the Captiva Premier also comes with sensors all around, as well as a 360-degree view camera image, which can help you get around tight city streets. So when you compare the front fascia design of the Chevrolet Captiva Premier to, let's say, the other small MPVs in the category, you'll notice that this, my friends, really leans more towards the SUV look, similar to, let's say, the Veloz or the BRV VX. Now, this top-spec Premier comes with its full LED DRLs, its sleek-looking LED DRLs here, and they are mated to this chrome garnish that extends all the way to the center of that front grille to meet at that golden bow tie logo. Now, the top-spec Premier also gets full LED headlight units, although we only have halogen fog lights here. Now, when you go further down, you'll see that we also have a really sporty-looking front chin, which at first I thought kind of looks a little bit too big for the face, but after driving this vehicle for several days, pare, I'm telling you, yeah, that front chin, it works, pare. It actually works. It helps to complete the overall sporty vibe and design of the Chevrolet Captiva Premier. Now, the side profile gets a traditional MPV shape, although we do get some SUV designs and touches here and there, such as the roof rails up top and the semi-floating roof design. Now, when you check out the wheels and tires of the Captiva, both the base trim and this top-spec Premier gets the same size 18-inch alloy wheels, although the top-spec Premier has a silver and gray two-tone paint job versus the silver and black two-tone paint job found in the base trim LTZ. Now, behind those wheels, we get disc brakes on all four corners, and for the suspension, well, it rides on a traditional MPV suspension, which is a MacPherson front suspension and a torsion beam at the back. Now, the ground clearance stands at 180 millimeters, which is kind of low for an SUV, but it is typical for an MPV. Alright, so I always find the Chevy cabins to be straightforward, utilitarian, and practical, which is the same for this Chevrolet Captiva Premier. You see, while we have perforated leather seats here, the seats themselves are on the firmer side, and the leather has the, utilitarian feel and quality to it. Now, even this top-spec Premier also just gets a urethane steering wheel, something that, you can fix in the aftermarket. But I would have wished that they've given us, a leather-wrapped steering wheel to add to the premium factor of this Captiva Premier. But yeah, we don't get that. Now, the wheel also just adjusts for tilt. It doesn't really telescope, which is a bit of a bummer for taller drivers out there. Now, when you check out the gauge cluster, we have a 7-inch digital gauge cluster there. Oh, and yeah, by the way, guys, going back to the steering wheel, at least even if this is urethane, we still have the buttons for cruise control here. Something that is, it's a nice feature to have, especially for an MPV. Now anyway, so yeah, we have a 7-inch digital gauge cluster there, and we also have a 10.4-inch touchscreen infotainment system that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and as I said, the image of a 360-degree view camera. Now we also have physical buttons here for the power and home button for your audio, as well as the volume controls, which I appreciate. But I would appreciate it more if we had physical buttons for your AC controls, but we don't have that. You know, it's embedded in the infotainment system. And to be fair to the Captiva Premier, the AC controls are, they are quite responsive. Now we also have, of course, we have the shifter here. Oh yeah, this top-spec Captiva Premier also comes with an electronic park brake with an auto hold function, while the base trim LTZ has to make do with a manual handbrake. Another thing is, if you look up, you will see that we have an actual panoramic sunroof here. Now that makes the Chevrolet Captiva Premier the only 7-seater MPV in its class that comes with that nice feature. I mean, it is such a nice thing to have, but it also has, some drawbacks, you know. It also comes at a cost, which I will share with you in a little while.
See, being an SUV has some advantages, but they also come with some drawbacks. Take the fuel economy, for example. We have a more powerful turbocharged engine here, and I appreciate that. But that also means that we don't get the fuel economy figures that you can get from a naturally aspirated small displacement gasoline engine that can be found in the other MPVs in the category. See, going around the city, light city drives, I was able to get 8 to 9 kilometers per liter, while a highway drive gave back around 14 kilometers per liter. Now, the other MPV contenders in the segment will give you much better fuel economy figures, but then again, they don't really have the power outputs of this Captiva Premier. So, lesson there, pare, you gotta take the good with the bad, and the bad with the good. You can't really have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? Yeah. The same can be said for its suspension. You see, I find that the Captiva's suspension is a little bit more rugged and bouncy than the other small MPVs out there, which tells me that the shocks and springs of this vehicle has been tuned with durability in mind. See, that's good news for people who travel regularly on unpaved roads. Now, in terms of safety, the Captiva Premier is fairly equipped, as you can see on your screen. The NVH levels is also pretty darn good, since we have a quieter ride here, especially on the highway. Now, this is one of the quieter small MPVs available in the market, so if NVH is a big deal for you, pare, well, you should seriously consider the Captiva Premier. Now, as for the second row, let's go and check it out. Alright guys, so remember that gorgeous panoramic sunroof that this Captiva Premier has? Well, that's also the reason why this vehicle does not get the ceiling-mounted row of AC vents that the other small MPVs in the category get. Now, that's not really ideal, especially for a vehicle that's meant to transport 7 passengers, including 2 at the third row seats. Now, that's because, well, without the ceiling-mounted AC vents, cold air will have a hard time getting to the third row, especially when you're driving here in tropical Philippines. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have rear AC vents here. In fact, we do. We have a couple of rear AC vents found here behind the center console box right there, which is the normal position if, let's say, you're an SUV. But as I said, since this is mounted down low, the cold air will have a hard time getting to the passengers at the back. Now, we also have a solo USB Type-A charge port there, which completes the amenities found here in the second row. I mean, we don't even have a center armrest here. Now, in terms of the overall space, well, just like the other small MPVs in the category, we have enough space here for 3 average Asian adults. So at this point, I'm sure you guys are curious, what's it like to be at the third row seats of the Chevrolet Captiva Premier? Well, let's head over there and find out. So most people buy these small MPVs mainly because they will be using the third row seats a lot, because this is a 7-seater MPV, and in that regard, well, the third row seats, it's not really the most spacious in the category. You see, this, my friends, is good enough for a 5'6" adult like myself for short trips. Reason behind is, well, the seats themselves are kind of low, so my knees are really kind of high, and it's almost up to my chest, so it's not really the most comfortable position in the Chevrolet Captiva Premier. Now, this might be doable for small kids, but yeah, for adults, it's best to just limit it to short trips. I mean, this feels like the third row seat of an actual SUV, which in this case, as an MPV, it is a little bit of a disadvantage. Another bit of a disadvantage here is, as I said, we don't have ceiling-mounted AC vents there because of that gorgeous panoramic sunroof, which means that if you're sitting here at the back, it is going to be a bit on the warm side, especially because we live in tropical Philippines. Now, that being said, guys, yeah, this feels more like a 5+2 rather than an actual 7-seater MPV. So yes, the third row seats are best reserved for emergencies and short trips, or for friends and family members that you want to torture. Now, the rear end design of the Chevrolet Captiva is really chunky, you know? It has a bulbous and chunky rear end. Now, we do have a set of sleek-looking LED taillight units here, but that's the only sleek thing found at the rear end of this vehicle, because when you turn your eyes down to the rear bumper, you'll see that we have a really thick and chunky rear bumper here that serves to enhance the visual mass of this vehicle from the rear. Now, we also have a pair of, well, design garnishes here on the rear bumper that's made to look like dual exhaust pipes, but they're not really the exhaust pipes. Now, rather, the actual exhaust pipe can be found right here underneath one of those design trims, which is pretty cute if you think about it. Now, when you pop open the manual liftgate of the Captiva Premier, you'll see that behind the third row seats, we get 117 liters of cargo space, which is still good enough for a medium sky travel luggage here. So that means that even if you go on a road trip and the Captiva is packed with 7 people, you can still put luggage behind the third row seat. So that's good. That's good for your stuff. Now, if you need more space than 117 liters, well, you can tumble down the third row seats. There you go. Which expands your cargo capacity to over 600 liters. And that's good enough for how many luggage? Let's see. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, maybe a small one here, 4, 5, maybe around 4 to 5 medium sky travel luggage. Now, for those of you who are wondering where the spare tire is, well, you can find the donut spare tire underneath the car, all right? While most small MPVs aspire to look like an SUV, the Chevrolet Captiva Premier is more like an SUV that has some 7-seater small MPV traits. It delivers the looks, power, and amenities one can expect from a compact SUV, but with the added benefit of the 2 extra seats for those family outings and road trips. For those who are craving for more performance in a 7-seater small MPV, the Chevrolet Captiva Premier presents a solid choice. And if you're under budget, well, fret not, because the base-trim Captiva LTZ also comes with the same performance, but at a lower price point. Thanks for watching.